Hey, this is Miss Gloria with Our Lifestyle Today, and I'm happy to welcome my subscribers, and I'm happy to know that they are as young in their 20s and as old as in their 60s. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So today I would like to talk a little bit about adult children who treat their elderly and older parents with a great deal of disregard and disrespect. So I do understand that over the years, parents and adult children clash heads on a lot of things, religion, how they were raised, etc. However, and so therefore, here's what I feel about that. I currently have a son who is actively hating me and actively being so awful until I have decided to block him. And if anybody know me from my church organization all the way to my work life, I am a loving parent, and even when the children were little and they were born, etc., I was mostly known as an overprotective parent, and mostly that's because I lost my mom when I was in my early 20s to they took her life. That's the best way to put it, gracefully. And so therefore what that did was, as I had my children in the 80s and the 90s, I became very protective of them because of the circumstances involving my mom's death. And so as they got older, etc., I wound up divorcing their dad and going on with my life. And what children can do is they grow up and then they tell you basically what you should have done and how you should have done this and should have done that. Now, I'm of the mind of, if I did not abuse you in any way, you don't get to tell me what I should have done and what I should not have done in any way. And the reason why is because you weren't there. And if you were there, you were not there to make the decisions that I had to make for my life and for my children's life and for the then husband and the circumstances at the time. Children do not, you children do not get to grow up and tell your parents where to go and how to get there and what they would have, could have, should have did, because you just don't. What they would have, could have, and should have done. I guess that's the way I should say it. And the reason I say that is not because I'm being arrogant or conceited or condescending or any of those words. The reason I'm saying it is because it is disrespectful and disregarding. And yes, I'm a baby boomer, and I just believe that parents should be respected. They earn their respect. However, they get the respect from the fact that they were parents to you and the things that they did to make sure you stayed alive and stayed healthy and stayed safe. Now, if it goes outside of those boundaries and that did not happen, I do understand, how you can feel any other kind of way, and that makes sense. But parents like what I did, and I actually didn't even make or drag my children to church for the things that I actually believed in at the time. I decided that, as they grew up, they would figure it out, and they would, learn and come to the conclusions that they wanted to come to. I didn't raise them how I was raised, which was very stoic and very Bible-based and very orthodox, orthodox type of living and being raised. No pants, no boyfriend, no this, no that, no nothing, no TV. I didn't raise them like that. I was a bit more liberal. Well, there are consequences for that, and some of them are not good. And however, they eventually became teenagers and decided to go to the church and decided to become involved, and they decided to confess the Holy Spirit, etc., etc. And eventually, if they change their minds, that's their business. I don't tell my kids business. But the thing is, to go and say, hey, Mom, you shouldn't have gave the money to the church, and you shouldn't have done this, and you shouldn't. You get to tell your parents what they would have, could have, should have done. We only have one life right now on this particular earth. I'm not sure whether we come back or what goes on. I don't, those things are faith-based in your belief. But here's the deal. You don't get to tell your parents what they should have done. And if you think about it, these adult children, they are now parents themselves. And if you look at them, look at the choices they're making. They're also making choices that are based on their circumstances and their beliefs, And that's the way it should be, and that's the only way it can be. And parents do not go through, the parenting and not make errors. We all make errors. We are sorry for our errors, and we make sure that we do as, those of us that care, we make sure we make amends, we make the best. And for the many years I have, and I have made amends, and I have said, oh, you know what, I shouldn't have did this, or maybe when I did that, I should have done it this way. But nothing as horrible as, scarring my child where they have to be in therapy for the rest of their lives. And, kids have to understand when they become adults, you have to learn to live with whatever choices your parents made. And if they are so terrible and so difficult, then what you should do is go to therapy, or you need to pray, and both. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. Because right now, both my parents are deceased. And so am I supposed to sit around all day saying, Mama shouldn't have did that, Daddy shouldn't have beat me, and I can't believe my mama. No, I'm not dealing with that. I love both my parents. I see that they were from the silent generation. They suffered atrocities that I absolutely have no idea how they dealt with, not being able to use the bathroom that other people were able to use, not being able to try on a wedding gown, not being able to drink from a drinking fountain, not being able to get a job that somebody else got that was exactly the same as them, except I guess I should say my parents stayed in the oven a little bit long and got a little bit brown, a little bit toasted. You know what I'm trying to say? So what I'm saying is my parents came from a generation that was absolutely unbelievable. Call boy when you're a grown man, all kinds of stuff that's ludicrous and a form of insanity, obviously. So the ways they behaved and how they treated me and how they interacted with me, all of that I'm sure was colored by the fact that they were colored. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, and their life, how they were raised by their parents, which came from the other generation, which was before the silent generation, So anyway, it's a long story, but in the end, please, 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 adult children, have some kind of understanding, have some kind of compassion, and have some kind of wisdom about throwing up in your parents' faces, who are actually right now probably in their 50s, or in their 60s and 70s, throwing up in their faces what they did and what they should have did, what they shouldn't have done, when it is, if it wasn't something that was atrociously, abusive. Because all they did was make a judgment call. Kids do not come with a book, and you do the very best you can. You're supposed to make sure they're educated. You're supposed to make sure that they are safe, and they are supposed to be fed and taken very good care of, and that's all the best you can do. But you don't get judgments about how they spent their money, their relationships that they had. All those kind of stuff they're very subjective to the individuals, and we all have a right to do whatever we want to do in this life for ourselves. And this is my channel, this is my opinion, and I am very respectful, and I expect if you have any comments for you to be respectful as well. And if you don't, you'll see that, this is not the place for you. This is Miss Gloria, and this is our lifestyle today. It actually is, and these are one of the things that are going on. And I decided to share this because it was on my heart. Why in the world is my son going to call himself throwing me away because I gave money to the church many years ago, and I gave so much money. It did not harm my children. My children still went to school, and they could have finished high school, and they could have gone to college. I was there for them, and I can't speak for their dad, but I was there for them. I did the best I could. And then after they grew up, I was still there for them, because that's the type of mom I am. I'm not the type of mom that say, well, if you don't bend to my rule, I don't want to have anything to do with you, stuff like that. If you don't believe in my religion, then you need to go to places. I've never been like that. They know they have a liberal type of mom. And so I love my children. I will always love them, but I will not be an elder abused person. I know you think I'm not elderly, but I'm totally elderly, and I refuse to go out that way, being abused after being, living such a wonderful, awesome, and amazing life, and including my children in my life in any way that I was, able to do so. I'm not going out that way. And there's no reason I wanted to say, I know this is getting a little long, but there's no reason also for guilt. We don't have anything to be guilty about. We just do the best, we did the best we could. We do the best we can. And, but we can put our foot down and say, no. The answer is no. You don't get to talk to me this kind of way, because you don't get a pass. You don't say, oh, you're the parent, so you're supposed to. One of my kids told me, the one that's not speaking to me right now, you're the parent. Basically, I'm the parent, and so therefore I need to just shut up and take it, deal with it, because they're the adult. Are you, what planet are you from that you think that you can speak to me in that disrespectful manner, and I'm supposed to just take it because I birthed you? I literally died having that particular child, and I was blessed that they brought me back. So are you kidding me? No. I love you, but goodbye. I don't have to take it, and I'm not going to take it. And you can actually love somebody and have absolutely nothing to do with them at all, because it's for your physical, your mental, and your emotional safety. And that's what we have to do, us older boomers. Look out for your mental and emotional safety, and sometimes it comes down to your physical safety, because especially if they're on substance abuse, they can cause a problem. All right, well, this is Miss Gloria, and this is Our Lifestyle Today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you come back again.